Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast, episode 725 of the podcast. Trump's lawyer puts out a fiery statement. If you don't know, Trump's lawyer now has a gag order. This has gone to his attorneys now. I know it's frowned upon on this platform to talk about Trump, but I have to. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So what you're going to see in this video, you're going to see Trump's lawyer, Alina. She's going to give you a very fiery statement. We're also going to hear what Trump has to say about his day of testifying. And then I'm going to play some good old talking heads that are going to talk about the gag order and what all that means. And we're going to do it in that order, but reversed. So we're going to go to the talking heads first. Let's get into it. Oh, also, check this shirt out. You know what this picture is? If you know, you know. All right, let's get into it.
So, Lindsay, new gag order now after a bunch of drama in court. Why is it that the law clerk has become such a central figure here?
Well, Chris Kise, Trump's attorney, continues to imply in the courtroom that his clerk is biased and politically leaning to the left. And the judge is furious over this. He's already issued a partial limited gag order preventing all parties from making public comments about members of his staff or posting about them. And now it has expanded. Essentially, the judge saying, and I want to go ahead and read, let me just pull this up. All counsel are prohibited from making any public statements in or out of court that refer to any confidential communications in any form between my staff and me. And Hallie, this has to do with something that happened we talked about yesterday before court adjourned, and there was some note passing between the clerk and the judge. The judge says that he has an unfettered right to talk to members of his staff. In his gag order, he cited the New York rule that allows this to happen and says, in fact, it is the primary role of the principal law clerk to help a judge adjudicate their responsibilities. And so he went on in this gag order, Hallie, to say, since the commencement of this bench trial, my chambers have been inundated with hundreds of harassing and threatening phone calls, voicemails, emails, letters, and packages. No comment yet from Trump's attorneys, Hallie.
What about
And no, there was a comment from Trump's attorney. But really quick, before I play that clip for you, I just want to go over what they were talking about in terms of the law clerk. Now, why is this law clerk so important? Why is Trump saying things about her? Why is the attorney saying things about her? And why was there a gag order put on Trump and the attorneys after they started talking about the law clerk? Well, this law clerk is very close with the judge. Of course, that's a regular relationship. That law clerk is also directly connected to Chuck Schumer. They are friends. They are in contact quite a bit. They speak. They talk a lot. So now you have to look at what's actually going on here. Now remember, Chuck Schumer is the one that went on Rachel Maddow's show and said directly to Trump. Now this is me talking, but he went on this show to tell Rachel Maddow that Trump is very silly for going against the intelligence agencies, that there are multiple ones that are very upset with him, and that they have 6 ways from Sunday to get back at him. And then he goes like this, change the topic. Now, Rachel Maddow made that seem like that was just like a spur of the moment type of thing, but I think that was very planned. Now, this same man who seems like the intelligence agencies have his ear, he then says this to Trump, which I take as a very public threat that he made to Trump. That's what I think. He was threatening Trump on behalf of these agencies. Now, that same gentleman is connected to the law clerk that is connected to the judge that is now trying Trump. And there's many clips of this judge saying unhinged things like the juries often get it wrong, and I am somebody who likes to overturn juries if I don't think that they've made the right decisions. This is not by chance. So when Trump actually mentions this law clerk and says, you're very chummy with Chuck Schumer and all this stuff, and then the judge goes ahead and says, boom, gag order. I don't want you talking about this anymore. And if you talk about it, it's going to be trouble. That's what's really going on with this law clerk. It's not that Trump's some bully or that their attorneys are all silly or they're all wearing tinfoil hats when they're inside the courtroom. It's that there's a real connection between this law clerk, Chuck Schumer, and the intelligence agencies, which said that they were very upset with Trump. Just to put that out there real quick. Just to do a little bit of connect the dots for you there. Now let's move on to Trump's attorney. Trump's attorney has some stuff to say here. Very fiery lady. I did not know she was like this, but very, very fiery. And she had some choice words to say for pretty much everybody and the country. I love her statements. Let's go. Where's she at? There she is.
Coming from the judge who has already predetermined that my client committed fraud before we even walked into this courtroom. I'm not here to hear what he has to say. Then why exactly am I being paid as an attorney, and why exactly are taxpayer dollars being used in this courtroom? The answer is very clear. Because Miss James wants to stand right here like she did this morning and call my client a liar, call the company fraudulent, and make a name for herself. She said this morning that the numbers don't lie and they won't lie in this case. Well, Miss James, I have a message for you. The numbers didn't lie when you ran for governor, and that's why you dropped out. And the numbers don't lie when President Trump runs for office in 2024. And those numbers are loud and clear. This country is falling apart. And if we don't stop corruption in courtrooms where attorneys are gagged, where attorneys are not allowed to say what they need to say to protect their clients' interests, it doesn't matter what your politics are. Everyone has a right in this country to get up and put a defense. I don't care who you are. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can put objections on the record. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear. I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here. And you know what? You shouldn't either. Because not every American citizen gets a camera and a microphone. And what I'm seeing is such a demise of American judicial system and democracy. Miss James came out this morning and said that she knew Mr. Trump, and she always calls him Mr. Trump because it kills her that he was the president. But the 45th president of this country, one of the best presidents we've had, has built a great company. It's worth a ton more than that statement of financial condition. And she doesn't know how to get out of it because her politics won't allow her. She calls him a bully. She says he's going to bring out racial slurs. He's going to say things today and taunt her. Well, Miss James, you taunted him. Before you came into office, before you saw one record, one statement of financial condition, you taunted him. You said his administration was too male and too pale. Those are her words. She said that she and Michael Cohen were going to be his biggest nightmare. Well, I have some news for you, Miss James. Michael Cohen folded, lied, and crumbled. Your star witness, along with all the DAs and corrupt AGs, need to be paying attention to what happens when you let us take the stand. When you let my client speak the truth, and the judge can tell me to sit down, and he can try and shorten my client's testimony, but it is loud and clear. They've got nothing. They've got nothing but their politics. She's got nothing but her Soros backing, which we discovered recently. And I am sick and tired of seeing it. Pay attention, America. Pay attention. Because when you're in court one of these days and you don't have a lawyer that has a microphone and you don't have a lawyer that can go on TV and you've got judges gagging them, what are you going to do? We need to fix this country. And we need to stop what is happening in this courtroom. President Trump is worth a lot more, and she wasn't ready for it. She doesn't understand it. And before she rushed to judgment, she should have thought about attacking somebody with over 50 years of real estate expertise who changed single-handedly the skyline of New York City. She picked the wrong person, and her politics will fail for it.
Man, so true. So true. This is all based on politics. This has nothing to do with what he so-called did wrong. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's all about the politics. And you know, one thing I love that she said, well, there's a few things, but the Soros backing, I'm going to have to look into that. But it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. the connection to Schumer, the connection to the agencies. Then, Soros has been financing also, and that's the thing, right? That's the thing that Trump has brought up, that Soros is smart. It's like, why you don't go and change laws, because that looks ridiculous. You never go and change laws. But if you get a DA and you change how they go after those laws, that's better than changing the laws. Because changing laws, that's too loud. That's too crazy. So Soros tends to go for the DAs, right? Why go for the top of the top? You go to the president. The president has to do too much to get all the way down to Senate and all these levels, right? You get the DAs. That's who you get. You notice the WEF does that same thing as well. They may get Justin Trudeau and Biden and everything, but they go for mid-level, a lot of senators, people in Congress. They go for very low people, low, like quote unquote low. They don't go for the heads of countries. They go for the lowest people, because those people can really affect laws. They can mold it, and they can change how things are perceived, how laws are actually pursued, crimes are actually pursued. Sorry. So yeah, that's everything she has to say. It was amazing. We got another video of President Trump, and this is pretty much right before he had to testify himself. And she's talking. This is actually after the court case. She's talking about this guy being unhinged. He's slamming tables. He doesn't want to hear what President Trump has to say. He's not here to hear what he has to say. This is wild. This guy was put in place. This judge, if you haven't seen the video I did, you go check it out. There's a video I did about this judge. This guy is, like she just said, unhinged. When you hear him speak, just as a person, he is unhinged. What he thinks he should be allowed to do as a judge is all playing out within this case. So, I was going to say perfectly, but I guess, if you're Chuck Schumer, it's perfect. If you're Donald Trump, it's like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening in the United States of America. And what she said is one thing that she said again. Joe Rogan has echoed this. I've said this. She's saying this now. This will come and bite everybody who's watching this. At the end of the day, if they're allowed to do this with a president, this is going to set such a precedent, and it's going to happen again and again to lower and lower and lower type of people until you get to the point where you'll just make a video and you'll be like, oh, call him into court. He did this, this, and that. Let's lock him up. Then it's going to be like, well, he liked the video. I know he did. We see it in the algorithm. Let's get him. Let's get him on this. Let's make it look like this, this, and this. Lock him up. This is wild. When Trump says that this happens in the third world countries, that's not a joke. It really does only happen in third world countries. It's wild. Wild that it's happening in the United States of America. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's see Trump's words on this. He gives a little talk right before he goes in and testifies.
While Israel is being attacked, while Ukraine is being attacked, while inflation is eating our country alive, I'm down here, and these are all political opponent attack ads by the Biden administration. Their poll numbers are terrible. You show what happened today. The New York Times and CBS came out with a poll that I'm leading all over the place, but it's a very unfair situation. This is really election interference. That's all it is. This trial is ridiculous. The numbers are much greater than on the financial statement. And we've already proven that. They said Mar-a-Lago's worth $18 million. Mar-a-Lago's worth anywhere from probably 50 to 100 times more than that. And it's a terrible, terrible thing. These are political operatives that I'm going to be dealing with right now. You have a racist attorney general who made some terrible statements, and we just see some more that came over the wires today. It's a very sad situation for our country. We shouldn't have this. This is for third world countries. And very unfair. It's very unfair. But in the meantime, the people of the country understand it, they see it, and they don't like it. They don't like it because it's political warfare, as you would call it, or political lawfare. Another name. I got a lot of names for it. But usually it takes place in third world countries and banana republics. Nobody's ever seen that to this extent. We've never seen it here. But we will go along, and we will hopefully do very well in every regard. We'll win the election, and we'll make America great again. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make America great again. but we have to take away from the thugs that we deal with and the horrible people that actually must hate our country to do this. But we will we'll fight very hard for our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
It's funny he brings up they must hate our country. You know, it's interesting when you look at this whole thing with what they're doing right now, because this is blatant. This is blatant. I don't know about you, but you can tell that this is very blatant what they're doing. They're just like, oh, he charged more for a house. We say it's worth this much, and I don't know. He should just go to prison for 20 years. I don't know. I'm just off the top of my head. He should go to jail, probably for the rest of his life. I don't know. You know, just before he runs for president, can we just have him off the ballot? Yeah, it's just because of house thing. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's crazy. It's very, very blatant what they're trying to do. And when he talks about, you know, they must hate the country, it's very true, because Konstantin Kisin from Trigonometry, he said something once that was very wise. He said, democracy is dependent on the loser. You know, like, you can't have democracy without the loser's consent, really, because when you both do battle or, you know, go through a vote or a run or whatever election, if you lose and you say, okay, I lost, you know, better man won, there you go. That's democracy. That's when the democracy gets enacted. These people know they're going to lose. They know they're going to lose, and they're doing this instead. That is the real threat to democracy when you really think about it. Not conceding. I shouldn't say conceding because they haven't lost yet, but they're on the way to losing. It is for sure they're going to lose. Their front runner is a person who is not stringing sentences together as well as he could. Let's say that to be nice. You know, so they know it's about to happen. So instead of just being that loser, being that person that just goes through the election, goes through the battle, whatever, what have you, and just says, okay, we'll do the best we can, and if we lose, it's fine. Instead of that, they're deciding, you know what? No, let's lock that person up for 100 years. Let's do that instead, and let's keep power. That's the real threat to democracy. Don't be tricked and think that all these other things are threats to democracy. Trump deciding that he wants to question an election. Not do anything, not stop anything from happening, but he wants to question it. That's not a threat to democracy. You know? That's someone who, you know, maybe doesn't think they lost and wants to see a little more, wants a little more proof to know that they lost for sure. You know? But that's not a threat to democracy. You know? White supremacy. That's not the threat to democracy in the country. All these things, that the climate change, that's not a threat to democracy. All the things that they keep throwing that are threats to democracy. You know what I notice? Jimmy Dore actually said something like this too. All the things that they keep saying everybody else is exactly what they are. All the things that they said that Trump would do if he got another term, Biden did them all. They kept saying Trump would bring everybody, bring the whole world, he'd start World War III. Didn't happen. Biden did it. They said that he would cause super racial divides. They did. In disguise of like, oh, well, you know, we're trying to be inclusive, and, you know, to be inclusive, we have to categorize everybody by their race and their age and their sex and their gender and all these different things. We have to separate them, and no, it's for equality. You know, not seeing all this would be racist. You don't want that. All the things they said that Trump would be, wouldn't concede power. Look what they're doing now. All of the things. Now they're doing all of it. So when you hear that they're saying that there's a threat to democracy, you can be sure, just based on what they've been doing, the whole timeline of what they've been doing, that they are the threat to democracy. It's very worrisome. But I do think he's going to win. I think he's going to win for sure. Let me know in the comments if you think he's going to win as well, if you think he's going to take this election. I think it's a for sure thing. I think he won't do a day in jail. People keep forgetting he's never going to go to an actual prison. You know, some people are like, people who don't like Trump are like, Trump for prison. He's not going to go to prison. He's going to be in a mansion. He's going to be in a mansion under house arrest at the most. And that's win or lose. Win or lose the election. If he gets convicted, he'll be president. It's not like he can't become. People have this thing where they think he can't be president if he gets convicted. Oh, yes, he can. Oh, yes, he can. He'd be inside a house, be inside the White House. That's it. That's what would happen. He'd be inside one of the most prestigious houses in all of America, and he would just run the country from there. Yep. Sorry to burst anybody's bubble, but he would not be going into a place with a cell and bars and all this stuff. No, sorry, that's not happening. Lib. I was going to say a thing. But it's very interesting to see all this play out. I'm going to keep bringing you guys updates. You know, I said at the beginning of this, it's frowned upon when I touch on this subject, this person, the big 4-5. When I touch on him, soon to be the 4-7. When I touch on him, it's an issue here, if you know what I mean. But I'm just going to keep on doing it. I don't know. Follow me on X. We are posting things on X because, well, if you want to know why, follow me there. I'll let you know why. Where I can talk a little more, if you know what I mean. But other than that, like the episode, give it a like, give us a subscribe. We're trying to get to 100K. We're trying really hard. And other than that, I am out.